there was a pivotal moment, and I was actually on a lunch duty. I was doing cafeteria supervision. And for the educators on the line, you'll know what that's all about. And I remember we didn't have a common lunch at the school I was at. And I remember hearing a lot of noise coming down from one of the classes that was coming to go outside. And I recognized them because they were grade 10 kids, and they were in like costume, and they were doing like a role play simulation in a civics class. I can't quite remember what it was, but they were asked to take on different perspectives. And the way they were asked to do that was it sort of culminated in some type of like civil sort of movement or action related to whatever the topic was. And I remember watching them come around the corner, and they were all so excited, and they were cheering, and they were, you know, saying the things that were on their boards. And I remember two kids specifically walking around the corner in war paint and a headdress. And they were, they had signs that said, you know, native rights and, you know, stay off our land and things like that. And I remember they were two non-Indigenous learners, and I remember being really, really appalled about that. And I remember saying that's not right, what's going on there. And it was in that moment that I said to myself, like, nobody knew that this was a problem. I remember they paraded through the whole school. And I can just think about the young people who would have saw this and would have been, really put off by this, especially, young Indigenous people. And I remember saying, like, I got to say something about this, right? And so I spoke up. And at that time, it was just the beginning of when the province had put forward some work on a policy around Indigenous education. And it was from that point forward that I sort of said to myself, well, I want to be a part of the change. I want to make a difference in this realm, and I don't want to see that stuff in schools anymore. So what can I do? So there was definitely a pivotal moment, and it was that moment when I was really taken aback by what I had saw. And again, I don't assume that those young people had poor intentions. They just didn't know. And I think the educator was the same way. And that's always been my approach, is that we can do better, and we can do better if we have education and we have an understanding, and we can do it in a good way moving forward. So.